Hi, it's Matt from Go Green Autos. So here we have a Peugeot Partner electric van. It's 100% electric. It's got a 22 kilowatt hour battery pack. The battery is owned, so there's no lease payments like there is with a Renault Kangoo. And these vans have everything really. There's pretty much only one spec in the UK. That's this one, which is the SE L1, so the standard wheelbase model. And these have AC charging on this side there, on that flap on the wing. And then you've got DC rapid charging on the other side where the diesel filler cap would be, and that gives you the 0 to 80% DC rapid charge, typically on the motorway network, in about 30 minutes. And these also have 3 seats up front, so they're the only electric van that has 3 seats up front, as you can see. So the purpose of these videos is I describe the condition in detail, and that gives people the confidence to buy it without coming to view it first, because sometimes that is a bit awkward because of the distance, and then I just get the vehicle delivered to you. But there's nothing to show you on this. It is still like a brand new vehicle. It really is immaculate. It has done 2,500 miles, but it has never been used as a van. It came from this was an ex-Peugeot demonstrator. It's registered to Peugeot, and it's never been used, as I'll show you in a minute. So, well, should I say never been used in the back, it's only been driven. So looking around the front at the plastic bumper, it is all scratch free. There isn't a stone chip, scratch or dent to point out. The tyres are still like new. It's got the original Michelin tyres on, of course. You know, there's no point me really walking around because there is nothing to show you. The back rear bumper is all in nice condition. Yeah, there's just not a mark on it. And then all great down this side. So looking in the back, it has been ply lined, and it's got the original rubber mat that comes on the floor when these come out the factory. So these are normally just obviously a steel floor, and they stick this rubber mat on. But as you can see underneath, it has been ply lined, but it has never been used. Nothing has ever gone in the back of this, so it really does still look like a new van. So we've got small ply line boxing here to cover the wheel arches, and on the top section we've got this white corrugated plastic, and then the same here in the top of the doors, and then you've got your factory fit hardboard there at the bottom. So yeah, it's absolutely immaculate. It is still, as I said, like new. So these doors, they open 180 degrees, open right out, so it allows you to load with a forklift if you need to do that. And this one doesn't have a bulkhead. It's obviously open. You've got that ladder frame there that protects the driver, and then that passenger seat folds flat and it folds flush with the floor, and it allows you to put long items through. I will check it, but I'm pretty sure on these you can put then 3-meter conduit pipes, you know, copper pipe or whatever your trade is. You can put 3-meter lengths in there without putting them on the roof, because that's what you really don't want to do on an electric vehicle, is stick things on the roof, partly because it causes drag and therefore loss of range. I'm not sure whether that's measurable because I've never had to do it myself, but mainly it's the noise, because electric vans are utterly silent, and you don't want a roof rack or ladders or pipes or things whistling on the roof, because these just drive nice and quietly. Bit different if you're in a city and you're only doing 30-40 miles an hour, then that's fine, you're not really going to notice it. But yeah, this one does have the folding seat, so you can load long items through anyway. And then we've got the sliding door on the side. On these Partners, these doors do really feel quality and shut with a nice thud. And then here's your charging cables. So this is your type 1 to type 2 charging cable. So this is what you'd use if you were charging at home on a proper wall charger, or at your workplace, or on a public sort of typically 7 kilowatt charger. You keep the cable with you, and that allows you to plug into a charging post. This is then your portable charger, which allows you to charge on a 3-pin plug. These can only When the van's on this, it only draws 10 amp, so it does take much longer, but it will always be charged overnight. So this allows you to charge your van you know, anywhere that's got a 3-pin plug, or indeed if you're at site during the day, you can plug in and get a top up throughout the day on that. But ultimately, if you've got an electric vehicle, you get the proper wall charger installed and then you use that cable. And then, as I was saying about the rapid charging, that's here on this side, and this is your CHAdeMO 50 kilowatt DC rapid charging. So those rapid chargers are typically on the motorway services, in IKEAs. They're also putting them in supermarkets now, and on a rapid charger, this is where you get that very quick 30-minute charge. So we always quote 0 to 80%, because vans like this, they charge to about 80%, and then the vehicle will actually turn the charging off. And it does that in 20 to 25 minutes depending on how flat your battery is. And while I'm talking about charging, this is your AC charging port, so this is where you would plug in at night or your workplace, or on a lower speed, typically 7 kilowatt AC charger. And then continuing with the description of the condition, you know, down this side, absolutely not a mark. There's not even any scratching yet on the mirror caps. It is all still looking like a new van. And then on the inside here, door cards are all nice, it's all scratch free, the seats are clean. We've got the Peugeot heavy duty rubber mats fitted, and then this is your seating here. You've got a lever down here, you can lock that up and you can use the floor space for boxes if you want some extra cargo space. You can then drop that down, pull a tag there, and then that seat then folds flat and it's flush with the floor if the cables weren't there. And then this seat folds up, there's storage space down there, and pulling that tag there, the middle seat folds down and you've got a writing table, or probably more typical, a table there for your Big Mac. And then round here on the driver's side, I don't really need to show you the seat because, you know, this is still such a new vehicle, but yeah, no marks or wear yet on the seats. So here on the centre console, we've got electric windows. This is your central locking. You can lock the back independently. There's your 12-volt socket for charging your phone or a sat nav. This is your heating system. You've got hot and cold, and I was going to say rear window heater, but that isn't. That then just does your heated mirrors. We've got an auxiliary socket in here, that's unusual. So you've got USB and an audio input if you want to connect in an iPod. Radio, this one doesn't have Bluetooth, that was an option on these vans. And then up here you've got the display. And the nice thing on these vans is when you use the heating, so let's put some heat on, we can see up on the display that that heating is going to use 5 miles of range, and we've got a needle here which shows the power usage of the heating or air conditioning system. Ignore the flashing, I can see the camera's making the lights flash, but they're not flashing at all. That's just the effect you get when you're filming with a digital camera. So I'll just turn that off, and this is your gear selector. Well, not that electric vehicles have gears, you don't have a gearbox, but you've got park, reverse, neutral, drive. You drive it like an automatic, but with an electric vehicle you get that nice linear smooth acceleration because it's just an electric motor there driving the front wheels. And then up here on the dash, this is your power meter. So a bit like a rev meter really on a petrol or diesel car. The more you stick your foot down, the more that moves around, showing you're using more power. And then when you lift off the accelerator and you're coasting, that's when you charge the battery. So we call that regenerative braking. So you get the braking effect on the electric motor, and instantly that motor then works in reverse and it acts as a dynamo effectively, and it starts charging the battery. So that's what you capitalize on in an electric vehicle. You've got to see the road ahead a bit more, predict when you're going to stop, lift off the gas and coast as much as you can, because while you're coasting you're charging the battery. What you want to do is drive like you got no brakes. If you go from the accelerator to the brake all the time and you hit the brakes to slow down, you're just wasting your energy into friction and heat on the brake pads. And what you want to do is put it back in the battery, so you lift off the gas and let the vehicle slow down. And these vans have very strong regen braking, so when you lift off the accelerator it does slow down fairly quickly and will come to a complete stop. So with these vans you can drive miles and miles without wearing the brake pads. You know, I suspect these would do, you know, if driven properly, they would probably do 100,000 miles or more on the original brake pads. You only need to touch the brakes in an emergency stop or just hold it when you have stopped. So here it's predicting the range. It's showing 47 miles. We're only just above half charged. So typically these do 80 to 90 mile range in the summer. Depends, like all cars, depends how you drive it, but the official NEDC figure on these vans is 106 miles, but we all know you're never going to achieve that. So yeah, these are 80 to 90 miles in the summer and sort of 60 to 70 miles in the coldest winter. Very much depends on heating use, because the heater does draw power from the traction battery. So down here we've got cruise control, we've got audio controls on this side, and the cup holders are in the doors on these, which is a little bit awkward. You have some pockets down here, but there's no central mounted cup holders. We've got a glove box, you've got storage here, which is quite nice, and then you've got overhead storage up here across the full length. So I'll just show you the paperwork. This has had no previous keepers, so the keeper was the Peugeot Demonstration Centre, Peugeot Motor Company, and the registration date is the 9th of the 5th 2017, and taxation class is electric, so you don't pay any road tax. So this is still under the manufacturer's warranty. These have a 3-year 100,000 mile warranty on the van, and then 5-year or 40,000 mile warranty on the EV components. So that's your traction battery under the floor, and then everything under the bonnet, the electric motor, the charger, the inverter and all that sort of kit. So here we have the handbooks. It is actually missing the service book, but it hasn't yet had a service, so I'm going to get a service book when it goes in. I am going to send this in for service because the service is due. Not that electric cars actually really need servicing, it's only an inspection, and the only serviceable part on an EV is the pollen filter. So they just changed the pollen filter. You know, wear and tear on EVs, you're down to the simple things like wiper blades and tyres. But because this is still under warranty, then you get it serviced. But the reality is, once your warranty is expired, you just drive them. You don't get them serviced really, because it is only an inspection, and all that important stuff that does need checking, like your tyres and your suspension, that all gets done more thoroughly in an MOT test. One other thing to note, I do only have one key with this vehicle. It's missing the spare key. You can order one of these from Peugeot if you need it, but sometimes they do turn up. I have had quite a lot of vehicles where later on the spare key gets posted to me and then I forward it on to the customer, but at the moment we've only got one key with this one. So if you're interested, then do give me a call or email. I've got huge demand for the electric vans now, particularly from London, because the low emission zone has kicked in. So if you were running this in London, of course you don't pay the congestion zone charge and you don't pay the low emission charge. So compared to running, say, a Euro 5 diesel or older, you're saving £8.5 a year alone if you were to go into the zone every day. There's no road tax on electric vehicles currently. I guess one day they're going to have to bring road tax back, but at the moment that's still free. So the only cost is electricity. So this is a 22 kilowatt hour battery, so let's keep it around figures and say you cost you 10 pence a unit to buy your electricity at home or work, then that's going to cost you £2.20 to charge, but you're never charging from flat. Well, hopefully you're not. So typically these are going to cost £2 to £3 to charge, and then you're going to get that sort of 70, 80, 90 mile range, depending on the weather and depending how you drive. But of course a lot of the public charges are free, so if you have an opportunity to use those, then your fuel costs are going to come down even more. So all I've got to do is get this into Peugeot to have that service, and then it's ready. So hopefully that will be done sometime next week. And yeah, if you're interested, then give me a call or email. Let me know your postcode, and then this will come to you on the flatbed, fully charged and ready to use straight away. And if you want a charger installed, I can organise that for you. The government grant pays £500 towards the charger installation, so typically a home charger costs £250 now to have installed, and that normally takes about 1 to 2 weeks to get installed. Workplace chargers often cost a little bit more, but again I can organise that for you, and probably get the charger installed before you take delivery of the vehicle.